there is a fifth dimension, beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination.
If you're going on a February trip to Portland, you can count on snow and nasty weather. But we got there to see Nancy, and the plan was to spend a day in Portland before we went on the rest of our big trip. With only one cold day in Sandy, we had to go to Joe's Donuts for a 1,000-calorie breakfast. A cold but clear night presented a stunning picture of Mount Hood, but the weather really took a turn for the worse. Sitting at the airport the next day, there was no plane to take us anywhere. We missed a whole day vacation, and to summarize, we then had a series of de-icing delays, almost missed connections, and a tiring, frustrating day, but we did finally fly into Honolulu. And then it cleared up for a gorgeous 78-degree day. This is Diamond Head from our hotel window. What a contrast to what we left. This is just beautiful. And speaking of beautiful, this is why we're here. Our granddaughter, Katie, is taking a semester at the University of Hawaii. So, as conscientious grandparents, we had to make a visit. We don't know a lot of restaurants in Honolulu, but we do know our favorite is Cheeseburger in Paradise, right there on the Waikiki Beach.
Cheeseburger in paradise, heaven on earth with an onion slice. Not too particular, not too precise. I'm just a cheeseburger in paradise.
This certainly is paradise. After our delicious meal, we took a walk along Waikiki Beach, snapping pictures along the way. Also on Waikiki Beach was our hotel, the Twin Fin Hotel, a truly luxury hotel. Our room had a nice ocean view. They called it a junior suite with 2 queen-size beds and a very nice sitting area, which turned out to be great for the 3 of us playing cards. That ocean view was always fascinating.
This is the view from our balcony. Right down there where there's a bunch of cars, that's where the zoo is.
And sometimes what we were watching turned out to be watching us. The next day, checking the weather at our usual cities, it turns out we were in exactly the right place, Honolulu at 77 degrees. Just walking down the street in Honolulu is a pleasure. Everyone is comfortable and in a good mood. And by the way, we found natives and tourists alike to be very pleasant. Beautiful flowering plants are everywhere, and then there's the banyan tree. Rather than growing underground, its roots grow from its branches, so it's always growing outward, creating a vast canopy embodying both darkness and light. Just down the street from our hotel is the Honolulu Zoo. It's the only zoo in the U.S. to be established by grants made by a sovereign monarch. and is built on part of the 300-acre Royal Queen Caprilone Park. The Honolulu Zoo features over 1,200 animals in specially designed habitats. Of course, there are a variety of exotic birds behind cages at the Honolulu Zoo, but you also get to see another bird outside the cage. That would be the red-crested cardinal, introduced to Hawaii from Brazil around 1930, now common in parks in urban areas. Katie and I pick out lunch at a sidewalk cafe, and then we're off to the Glass Bottom Boat. The concept of this tourist boat was that while sailing, passengers would stand around the 6-by-3-foot boxes and look down into the water to see the fishes at the bottom of the boat. Well, that just doesn't work, at least on this day. We could see fish swimming alongside our boat, and that was kind of cool. The handsome crew was charming and very accommodating, and we enjoyed then a great boat ride alongside Waikiki Beach, with the crew pointing out the various hotels and points of interest along with relevant histories of Oahu. It was a really enjoyable afternoon. We were really enjoying our special time with granddaughter Katie, and she got the opportunity to show us around a little bit, being a college student here, like her favorite truck diner area. She picked out the coconut shrimp, fish tacos, and pizza. An all-American meal. Outside our hotel deck, we could see one of the historic points mentioned by our boat trip crew. Dedicated in 1927 to honor 10,000 citizens of Hawaii who served in World War I, a saltwater swimming pool on the beach of Waikiki once served as a living memorial for people to take part in its long history of indigenous swimming traditions and its Olympic legacy. Despite its popularity, the area began to deteriorate after World War II, and it was declared unsafe in 1979. Now we're going to Hanauma Bay Nature Preserve, and they are desperately trying to preserve this area. We met a young ducker named Beth while waiting our turn to get into the park. Since Katie is a pre-med student, they had much to talk about and got along famously. At one point, Hanauma Bay was being ruined by overvisitation, sometimes as many as 10,000 tourists a day. Imagine. Today it's limited to a strict 720 visitors a day, and it's only open 5 days a week. After viewing a mandatory 9-minute film about preserving the beach, the reef, the fish, and the entire area, Gail and I rode a tram down to the beach itself. Beth and Katie elected to walk, and there they are. The Hanauma crater was created about 32,000 years ago during the Honolulu volcanic series, the latest and maybe the final round of volcanic activity to occur on Oahu. Wave erosion eventually cut through the low southeast wall of the crater, forming the current bay. And the beautiful white sand, well, that was trucked in from the north shore of Oahu. We all got geared up and ready to get in and go snorkeling. This is really neat, especially for us older folks, where you walk into a gently decreasing ocean floor and snorkel and see a couple of hundred varieties of beautiful fish that aren't afraid of you at all. We all had a great time. Gail and I found the snorkeling fins a waste of time and hindered our movements. In fact, it dragged me down so I scraped my knee on the hard reef. I left a little blood on the beaches of Oahu. In the bad old days of the 70s and 80s, the sunscreen people used completely killed the colorful reef in Hanauma Bay. And now you're asked to use reef-friendly sunscreen. And of course we did. This is still a very popular attraction, so if you're going, reserve your slot early. Katie had one more of her favorite places to take us, and that was downtown for noodles. And they were surprisingly good. Then it was time to say goodbye to Katie, and maybe symbolically then the weather turned rather dark and rainy. So we stayed in our hotel and went to a tiki bar for a fancy meal of coconut chicken and chocolate fudge cake a la mode. Oh, that was good too. And that was it. Our Hawaiian vacation was over. And as they say in Hawaii, see ya.